Hello, everyone. Welcome to the June 10th, 2024 Human Services Committee meeting. My name is Isaac Scott, and I'm the chair of the committee. This meeting is called to order at 6:04 p.m. Could I see the script?
Want to see that?
Yes, I don't have it.
No, but I'm gonna move the slides, just you
Alright.
facilitate.
No way. All right, so just a few ground rules before we get started. No one may speak until granted the floor. CB11 members, if you have any questions about board business or wish to make the motion, please raise your hand and wait to be recognized. So raise your hand through Zoom, click the participants icon, and you will find the raise hand function there. Members should not engage in back and forth discussion. The chair will recognize the next person to speak. Please keep your questions and comments brief and on topic to the discussion. Members of the public, if you have questions or comments about the subjects on the agenda, please raise your hand and wait to be recognized. We will now take roll call. Committee members, when you hear your name, please answer present.
Mark Garcia,
Present.
Brandon Leslie. Jennifer Meyer. Isaac Scott
Present.
and Robin Straighten and speak for this meeting. You have a form.
Thank you. Yeah, all right. So our first announcements, we're gonna go right into our announcement sections. Our first announcement is the final rule to add chapter 36, which is.
Are you adopting anything?
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
This is why I'm asking for the script on the screen, because I don't have my script in front of me. So, the agenda for tonight's meeting was, submitted to the committee beforehand. If there are no objections, we will adopt the agenda. Okay, seeing no objections, the template for the meeting minutes from our main meeting is available online. If there are no objections, we will adopt those minutes. I see no objections, those minutes from our last meeting will be adopted. From now, we will transition into our announcements. Give me 1 second. All right, so we've had some folks reach out in the middle since we drafted this agenda, so some of the folks listed here may not be present today. But there should still be some information present, so I'll keep you informed on that. But starting with the announcements, the first announcement, the final rule, this announcement is already posted in the agenda, which was sent around to everyone. The link is there, so you can click on this, what I'm mentioning now. But the final rules to add chapter 36, which is needles, syringe, and Sharps buyback pilot program to Title 2024 of the RCNY, were approved by the Commissioner for the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene, Dr. Hassan. The rules were published in the city record on May 22nd, 2024, and will be effective on June 21st, 2024. So yes, again, that information is linked into your agenda. I don't have any, I'm not going to answer any questions on it, so we can go. The next announcement, I have an announcement, but I'll do it in the middle of the meeting in between presentations. But are there any announcements from committee members first? All right, are there any announcements from anyone in the public? Any events happening, any information that anyone wants to share with us during the announcement section? If you are scheduled to present, this is not the time to present. This is just random announcements that you may not have known about beforehand. Seeing no hands?
No.
Seeing no announcements, thank you. I do not believe, I can't see the screen from here, but I do not believe we have anyone on from the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene. East Harlem COAD did reach out to me and let me know that they may not be able to make this afternoon's meeting. So I do have some updates from them that I can read now. the East Harlem Small Business Emergency Preparedness Workshop Series. The East Harlem Small Business Emergency Preparedness Workshop Series is sponsored by the East Harlem COAD, Community Organizations Active in Disaster, and Union Settlement Association. The goal of the three-part workshop series is to provide East Harlem small businesses with practical information, tools, and resources on how to assess risk for a disaster or an emergency, and how to create and execute an emergency plan for your small business. All of the workshops will be delivered in English. Spanish interpretation may be available upon request. So if you are interested in participation, I do have the link to the registration form, so you can, reach out. There's not an active chat, and I'm not on the Zoom, so I can't put it in the chat. But I can share the link to the information, if you reach out to me. I'll say my, email on the record for everyone who does not have it. You can email me at humanservices@cb11m.org. Again, that is humanservices@cb11m.org. So I'm going to continue reading the updates. Cooling centers. It has come to our attention that there are no libraries open in East Harlem, which present a few problems, one of which is that libraries are our default cooling centers. We are working with New York City Emergency Management to identify other locations. Extreme heat resources are available below on their website. So again, they provided a link for that. And again, you can just go on their website and the information is there. What to do before and during extreme heat. So look for that link. If you're not savvy with navigating the internet, again, just email me and I will send it to you. Another update, air quality. Diminishing NYC air quality is another public health concern this summer related to Canadian wildfires. So they provided a few links, real-time air quality information by zip code. They've also provided a DIY do-it-yourself air filter using a box fan, so a link to that. So some important air quality links. Happy to share with everyone. Just send me a message, let me know. Accessibility in East Harlem. We would like to share this free resource for understanding and improving accessibility in our community spaces. So they are sending a disability justice audit tool, and I have the link for that as well. Yeah, so disability justice is a term in a movement building framework, for example, a way of envisioning the way people can organize around and think about disability that centers the lives and leadership of disabled Black, Indigenous, and people of color, and or queer, trans, two-spirit, and gender non-conforming people. So that is the update from East Harlem COAD. I promised them I would leave it on the record today. So with that, we'll transition to the next set of information and updates, which would be from Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center.
On same line.
Oh, okay. Okay, so we'll keep moving. Do we have, I believe Shannon from CCHP with us, the Center for Comprehensive Health Practice.
Hello, everyone, and good afternoon/evening. So my name is Shannon. I am the Community Engagement Coordinator at Center for Comprehensive Health Practice in East Harlem. And I just want to take this moment to talk about some of the cool new updates that's happening with our center. So we have hired new providers and new counselors because we're continuing to expand our services, not just to the East Harlem community, but Harlem as a whole, and hopefully, you know, to extend our services to other parts of New York as well, and bringing in more people because we want to share our comprehensive and holistic approach to healthcare to more people. The community engagement team, we have been reaching out to different organizations and going to different tabling events and just different events all around New York to kind of like showcase, you know, all that we are. For example, we are going to Harlem Pride this year, and we're super excited about that. We'll be doing a naloxone demonstration And also like a just kind of breakdown of our services, right? So we can reach more people and just like really, show that we're continuing to serve the Harlem community with vigor and excitement. Um, in addition, we are looking to, speaking of like expanding and engagement, we are kind of looking to expand our outreach to different populations, specifically those who are formerly incarcerated or those in the juvenile justice system, to more populations with pregnant people. So that's definitely a population that we are looking out for more. And within the LGBTQ plus community, which is why Harlem Pride is so important to us, because we want to continue to showing our support to people in the community. And last but not least, I kind of want to talk about, we are currently planning an open house. So if there's any organizations that want to come participate in our open house, or if anyone is interested in talking to me more about our open house, we're still in the planning phases of it, but I just wanted to put it out there, put it out into the universe that it's happening. So if anyone has any, want to talk to me about it, my email is srisbrook@cchbhealthcare.org. So that's SRISBROOK @cchbhealthcare.org. So that's my updates. Thank you, and everyone have a wonderful evening.
Very, very much, Shannon, for the update. I definitely would love to be a part of, the planning process for the open house as much as we can. So definitely, when you guys start reaching out to community partners, please keep me in the loop, keep us in the loop. Are there any questions from any community members? Any questions from, anyone in the Zoom space or anyone in the audience?
Yes, good afternoon. Oh, sorry.
We have him. Okay, yes. I can't see. Yes, you can. Yes, you're good. Go ahead.
Yes, this is Sandra Talavera. I just wanted Shannon to repeat her email address, please.
Yes, I'm sorry, I said it kind of fast. It's SRISBROOK @cchbhealthcare.org.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Are there any more questions? No, okay. Thank you again, Shannon, for the update. So just as a reminder, we don't meet, we'll be in recess in July and in August. So we'll come back in September and we'll meet, but, I'm going to be here in the community all summer, so we can always talk. I also do still need to reach out regarding just our referral process for another church youth and family outreach. So I'm going to reach out to you anyway, because we're building our referral network, and I just wanted to be able to just connect with everyone that we may be referring to before we start doing it. Okay, so with that, we'll transition to our last update, which is from the Exodus Transitional Community. Who's here on behalf of Exodus?
Hello, I'm Diana Ortiz.
How you doing? The floor is yours.
Thank you. Well, hello, everyone, and thank you, Community Board, for this time. Back in November, I informed the board that we wanted to, or we're planning to move to another location so that we can keep both clinics together. But unfortunately, the landlord there would not agree to an addendum in our lease that would satisfy Oasis. And so we have to, and we're happy to stay where we're at. So we'll be at 2271, where we've been operating for the last 6 years. But the mental health clinic, we needed a ground level. And so that will be at 2276. So it's just something that we just had to deal with for the last couple of months, but we're happy to be where we've been. So I just wanted to let you know.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that update. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Are there any questions regarding that update that was just given? The background, anybody want to get any information? Okay. Thank you again for the update. We appreciate you. And please keep
Thank
us
you so
updated.
much.
You know what else it may, So we'd like to rotate and add to our informational updates, and it may be very wise to have Exodus come on to give, maybe monthly updates, just so, because you guys are doing a lot of work. I know Julio personally, and, it would really be good if, you all could just come monthly and give some updates on what you guys are doing, how it's impacting the lives of justice impacted people, and such. So I'll reach out directly with an invitation to present, as in, just to present updates if you all have capacity.
Okay, that would be great, because I think Carmen Arroyo is now pretty involved with the community board, so we can talk to her about making that happen.
Thank you.
She's one of our directors in our ATI program.
Thank you again. I'm just taking notes of that. Okay, so with that, we'll transition into our presentation and discussion section. We have 3 presentations, if I'm not mistaken. I am gonna ask presenters, presentations are 15 minutes long. Please, take 10 minutes for your presentation and try to allot 5 minutes for Q&A. Yeah, so, our first presentation is from, Stephanie Marcado Altman. Are you on, Stephanie?
Hi, Isaac. Yes, I am. How are you?
How are you? Feel free to introduce yourself and you can go into your presentation. Did you send over slides that you?
I did not, but I can share it after I present.
Okay, no problem.
Awesome. Thank you. So hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Stephanie Mercado Altman. I am the Manhattan Community Engagement Manager here with New York City Smoke Free Public Health Solutions, and I do have a slide deck I wanted to present. So just give me 1 second. Yeah, thank you for the health committee inviting me on. Definitely would love to talk about the issues at play currently with menthol products and mentholated tobacco products as we see them in our community. So just a little bit about New York City Smoke Free and Public Health Solutions. So New York City Smoke Free is a program within the larger organization of Public Health Solutions, or PHS as we abbreviate it to. And the organizational mission really is to help to support underserved New Yorkers and their families in achieving optimal health and building pathways to reach their potential. As a program, though, our aim is really to increase tobacco-free norms throughout New York City, where people live, work, and play, so that everyone has the right to breathe clean, smoke-free air within their communities, within their homes, and within the businesses that they support and reside in. So we have 2 programmatic areas as part of our program. One is our community engagement side, which I charge up here in Manhattan. Basically interfacing with community boards, with other health advocates throughout the city. I also work with buildings and businesses to go smoke-free through the encouragement of voluntary smoke-free policy adoption. So, we assist in the end-to-end process of these policies being created in the way of, providing technical materials, assistance, things of that nature. And on the other side, we also have our youth engagement program, which is called the Reality Check program, where we work with youth 13 to 18 to become tobacco-free advocates throughout the city, within their communities, especially within their school communities. And it's really within that, our aim is to reduce youth exposure to tobacco marketing at the point of sale. So the point of sale is really just the meaning of where you can buy tobacco products, vape products, things of that nature. Within the stores in our communities and things like that. And then the other piece is eliminating pro-tobacco imagery from movies and media that teens also consume. So that's just a little bit about our program in a nutshell. But really just wanted to take a deep dive into the issues of why menthol has been a big concern for us as a program, especially most recently with the increase of it being found in vape products as well. So these are just lay terms, kind of lay knowledge that I just wanted to present tonight. So menthol is essentially a chemical compound extracted from peppermint or cornmeal or is synthetically made. And it really is an ingredient that helps the consumer, whoever is using the vape or the cigarette product, to inhale more smoke as it masks the harshness of the smoke that one is breathing in. So there's a cooling effect that it provides when it's inhaled. Thus giving kind of a false sense of safe smoking. So it's not as harsh on the lungs as only a non-mentholated cigarette would be, or a non-mentholated vape product would be. And essentially menthol cigarettes alone, this excludes vape products, represent 25% of all cigarettes sold in the US as well. And with that being said, there is a big concern about menthol products being a huge public health concern within our nation, but also within our cities as well. So namely, menthol smokers are more nicotine dependent and less likely to quit than smokers who use traditional cigarettes. It also contains menthol cigarettes contain 30 to 70% more toxins than non-mentholated cigarettes, which include tar and nicotine, especially. And it also has been shown that menthol cigarette smokers have a lower rate of quitting than traditional cigarette smokers. We do recognize that menthol also has a way of hooking in people, making it easier to start and harder to quit. And now with the not complications, but the compounded issue of vape products being sold, there are a lot of flavors that are out on the market. So menthol has been added to these vape products as well. And especially within our youth population, where vaping is a popular form of nicotine consumption and things like that, we worry about menthol being kind of a culprit ingredient in this case too. So I just also wanted to highlight some vulnerable populations that are disproportionately impacted by the sale of menthol cigarettes and mentholated products. So namely, African Americans are one of the three populations that I wanted to highlight tonight, where 85%, namely, of African Americans in New York City use menthol cigarettes compared to 22% of white smokers. 70% of African American smokers in high schools and middle schools use menthol vape products. And lastly, around 460,000 African Americans are estimated that they will have started smoking because of menthol cigarettes. And moving on from that, in light of Pride Month in celebration of everyone's diversity, there is actually a pretty extensive history of big tobacco sponsoring Pride events and things like that. Also within the African American community, big tobacco has also sponsored political leaders, also the Jazz Cool Festival. So they've kind of infiltrated every sort of aspect of cultural life within these communities, especially. But for our LGBTQIA2S+ population, there 36% of menthol cigarette users within the population are part of the LGBTQIA2S+ community, and 2.5 are 2.5 times more likely to smoke cigarettes than their heterosexual counterparts. So just wanted to provide that for those populations. And lastly, because we work with youth, and we don't want to forget our students and our kids, if we have kids here tonight, as parents. More than half of the youth smokers who use menthol cigarettes compared to less than 1/3 of smokers over 25. And lastly, youth menthol smokers have a greater urgency to smoke their first cigarette of the day than traditional cigarette smokers. So like that's echoes to the point before, where menthol cigarettes make it easier for people to start and harder to quit in the end. So I just wanted to provide, with that being said, provide those statistics, but also walk away hopefully with some tangible ways that we can partner together, aside from the letter of support, which I originally asked of the community or the health committee here tonight. But in conjunction with that, in supplement to my ask from prior, I would be happy to write a letter, not a letter, but a blurb or some sort of paragraph to your newsletter, if that's suitable, if that's acceptable. We'd love to do that so your constituents know about us and can connect with us if they need to. Also happy to draft a social media post for your Instagram or Facebook, if there is such a thing out there in the interwebs. And finally, if there are any introductions that can be made to other community health organizations in your community, in the way of like health or LGBTQIA2+, youth organizations, anything like that, we would love to be connected with them as well. Not only is it an ask of me to come here tonight for the letter of support, but see ways that we can connect further within the your district and everything like that. So that's really it for me. So I welcome any questions. Thank you for listening. And yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you very, very much, Stephanie, for the presentation, and thank you for the work you all are doing. So I just wanted to give a little, I just wanted to talk, just talk about the letter of support really quickly. So generally, we have, when there's a letter of, request for a letter of support made to the committee, we usually take a 30-day period to like review everything, so committee members have time to absorb the information, the request, and possibly draft a letter. If sometimes a letter, a template or a sample letter may be provided by organizations. And that 30-day period allows the committee to review all that and come back and then take a position the following month. But as I mentioned earlier, we won't be here in July. So I guess my question to you is, how urgent is this letter of support? Can we take a position on this in September, or is this something that needs to be done immediately?
No, we that's totally fine. If it's done in September, we're more than appreciative of any attention then, yeah.
And before I turn it over to Mark, I definitely want to follow up about social media posts. I'll work with Marlene and Angel and them here about the community boards, social media, if that's possible there. But I definitely have social media accounts for other organizations that we definitely need this information up on. You know, so I'm more than happy to connect on that as well. Let me make a note of that too.
Awesome, thank you. Appreciate it.
Cool. No
Yeah.
problem. So yes, I think there's a question here from the committee member.
Yeah, hi Stephanie. This question, I'll confess, it comes out of my ignorance of all the different things that people smoke. But are menthol products also being used to market marijuana?
Typically, no, like marijuana is its own beast, I would say. Menthol and the intersection of marijuana don't really coincide within
Okay,
products.
so that's why you're not focusing on, because I mean, I assume there are health risks.
Yeah,
Obviously, I understand why people use drugs, but there are health risks to smoking marijuana as well.
yeah, for
Okay.
sure. Yeah,
Okay,
no, it's a great question though. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions from committee members? Anyone in the room have any questions on the presentation? Okay, any questions in the Zoom space? Any virtual hands up? No? Okay, so Stephanie, please join us again in September. We will have it on our radar to take a position. If you would be so kind enough as to provide a sample letter, a dream letter, I would call it, that you might, and we will take, we will, you know, edit it with you. And, or we'll edit it together based on what, you know, what position we can take. And then in September, we'll bring that back before the committee. And I imagine we'll have some new committee members at that time as well, because I know we have new committee members that just came on in the past month or two.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much. I will do that gladly. Thanks.
Thank you. Enjoy your summer.
Yeah, you too.
I'm gonna reach out to you way before you enjoy your summer anyway.
Yeah, right. Enjoy your summer too. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, so. Second. Okay. Oh yeah, I didn't mention at the top of the meeting that I am taking the minutes for this meeting. So our second presentation is going to be from Shadeen Dixon from the Community Planning FCNY Community Planning Fellowship. Immediately after Shadeen's presentation, I'm going to make the announcement about an event we're planning in the fall, because it sort of falls right in line with this particular presentation. Shadeen, are you on?
Yes. Hi, I'm here.
Yeah, so you have the floor. I'm sorry, I didn't get a chance to follow up with you before the meeting, just to just touch base, but just the same thing that we spoke about on our conversation last time. You can do the presentation. Let's just leave the suggestions section now.
Okay. I left the suggestions section out, but I did show like some slides of different types of maps, which I'm gonna show, but okay,
Yeah, do what you feel is comfortable, but we're on the same page.
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna share my screen.
And please introduce yourself for everyone here so they know about the work you've been doing.
Oops, I don't think it was stuck from the beginning. Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Shadeen Dixon. I'm a recent graduate of Master's Architecture student at the Spitzer School of Architecture and City College. I've been working with the Funds for the City of New York as a Community Planning Board Fellowship. I've been working with Marlene and CB11 to working on the equitable service mapping, enhancing fair share, and addressing drug treatment disparities in East New York. And this is my presentation. So in this presentation, I'm going to talk about the background and needs of the community, the objective, which is supportive housing, drug treatment versus the drug treatment facilities, the methodology and how I got this data, and basically making a comprehensive map and just future steps. Okay, so for the background, CB11 is actively addressing the concentration and oversaturation of drug treatment facilities in East Harlem. The community is concerned about the impact of having too many facilities, which can contribute to the various challenges, including social, economic, and public health issues. One of the groups who's vocal about these issues is the Greater Harlem Coalition, and they contribute the oversaturation of drug treatment facility shows visible signs of drug usage, discarded syringes on stoops and public parks. They say facilities treat the majority of patients that's not from the community, and they attribute these issues to systematic redlining, historic redlining, NIMBYism, and other district neglecting the fair share criteria. And they're hoping with stricter monitoring of these facilities could adhere to 200 and the 500 feet rule. So this is some of their data that they attribute that 75% of patients do not live in Harlem. 90% of opioid treatment programs are in redline communities such as CB11. Okay, so OSHA is the New York State Office of Addiction Services and Support. OSHA monitors professional drug treatment providers in New York. There's 12 addiction treatment centers and 1,700 treatment programs under OSHA. And SAMHSA is on the federal level, and they have a directory of all drug treatment facilities in the district. So this is a statement from OSHA. We have spoken to residents and community leaders in Harlem regarding these concerns with activities in the neighborhood. They attest that the people using drugs on the street are, for the most part, people who need treatment and not people who are in treatment. And to help these people, OSHA has initiated a street level outreach program. And Governor Hochul has announced that a 50 million opioid settlement funding. So expected to be more treatment facilities and services within New York State. So for my research, I was trying to find where these treatment facilities are and overlapping them with the supportive housing to make a distinct differences between them. So for my objective was to create a comprehensive map analyzing the typologies and categories of drug treatment facilities and supportive housing within this district and distinguishing them. So I'm going to make clear definitions and terms, really try to understand supportive housing versus drug treatment facilities, and making a comprehensive map. And this is my methodology. So drug treatment facilities assist individuals with substance abuse. They're both public and private drug treatment facilities registered under OSHA and SAMHSA. Supportive housings are stable housings that and services to help people facing these issues. And permanent supportive housing is under the umbrella of support housing, and it deals with individuals with substance abuse use disorders. So to better understand the different types of supportive permanent supportive housing, they're all under the OSHA's housing brand, and they're rental subsidies that are distributed by the Department of Housing and Urban Development. And there's 3 types: scatter sites, cluster sites, and single site mixed use building. And these are the services: continuum care, reentry scatter sites, and New York 3. So to find a list of all these services, I was able to get a list of drug treatment facilities from SAMHSA and break it down using the Furman Center to see all these subsidies. And to find the wraparound services, I was able to use the HPD to get a list of single room occupancy. And from then I was able to distinguish the list from scatter sites, cluster sites, and single sites, the different types of permanent supportive housing. And that's I was able to get the list of permanent supportive housing in the community district. And then further on, I was able to map them, and these are the different types of permanent supportive housing. And it's an interactive map that you could see on Google Earth to see where these houses, these housing are, and where they are. So for my findings, this is just like just to show like different clustering of the model. And I will say that this research is missing opinions from members that are affected with substance abuse, and also the opinions of their families and loved ones. Other issues I was having is just that Google Earth, you're able to measure how far these facilities are from each other, and they are more than 200 feet. I was able to find the permanent supportive housing, but I'm not able to find data of how much housing is in each building. And for privacy reason, Google does not show what's happening on the street level. So you have to have visit in person to have like a better understanding what's happening on the street level. And for my next steps, which I'm hoping future community board fellows could continue the research, is to do further mapping, data evaluations, and reports, and hopefully can get to a holistic zoning amendment. But yes, so this is all I have. These are my resources, and I want to thank Angel and Marlene and Isaac for helping me with this research. And thanks. I'm open for questions.
Thank you, Shadeen, very much for being here today. Congratulations on your graduation.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here, but more importantly, thank you for taking the time to put all this together, because this does centralize a lot of information that is important to this committee. I want to, before I start talking and running my mouth, open up the floor to any questions from committee members about this presentation at the moment. And even if you don't have questions today, Shadeen is in our network, so we can reach out. But go ahead, Mom.
Hi, Shadeen, thank you for this, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Did you, I mean, I know you're focused on East Harlem, but do you have any comparable, like, data for other districts, or is that not really part of the scope of what you were analyzing?
Oh, so that wasn't a part of the scope I was analyzing, but with my methodology, I'm able to drag information from other districts if requested.
So you could do that, if you've already created a model for that.
Yes.
Yeah, because as you probably are aware, one of the biggest questions that keeps coming up in community board meetings all the time is the oversaturation of some of these facilities in this particular district. But you can only be oversaturated if other districts are undersaturated.
Yes.
So without one side of it, you really can't make as strong a case.
And I could make that assessment without other data from other districts. So I did wanted to show what the CB11 currently have, and hopefully other fellows, or if you guys want the opportunity, I could probably look at different districts, but it will probably take some time.
Thank you for what you have done.
Yeah, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Mark, because it does serve for a model for us to evaluate other communities or some areas to be able to make our case a lot stronger with respects to possibly redlining and just putting too many programs, clustering programs. But are there any other questions in the room before I go to the Zoom space?
I just had a question as to, are these slides going to be shared?
Yes.
With the community?
Yes, yes, they will.
Yeah.
They'll be-
To see this information, we work with OASS as well, so just being able to sort of see this and see the impact that that's having is important.
So generally after every presentation, like after we meet during the week of like this week, sometime during this week, I'm all the answers time, so we add the slides to the website where our meeting was.
Okay.
You know, so the same place you go to register, if you go online, would be the same place you find slides. Yeah. Okay, any other questions in the space before I go to the? Okay, I see a hand up. I can't see a name this far away, so. Sandra, please.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you, Isaac. This is Sandra Talavera again. Excellent presentation, Shadeen. I have a few quick questions. Number one, what was the trigger of the study? Was this a request from an outside organization or the community board, et cetera? That was one question. Number two, would you be available to do this presentation to other community groups? Specifically, I'm wearing my hat as a board member of the East Harlem Community Health Committee, and we have a behavioral health subcommittee, and I'm sure they would be extremely interested in seeing and learning, you know, hearing about this study. And those are two of my questions. My last question is, would this study be shared with the state, or is there going to be a continuation to find a little bit more granular detail? You went through this section of the mapping. I didn't get the sense of what were some of the findings in terms of the percentage of supportive housing, permitted housing versus the treatment centers. I saw something that alluded to the distance factor, but I wasn't quite sure about the other. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for the question, Sandra. So the prompt for this research, I'm a part of, it was a scholars program, dedicated to advocating for community boards. I know personally for me, I do architecture, and I am interested in more participatory designing. So I was interested in the program, for that reason. For, we had to choose a community board, and this was more interested in, I was interested in this project mostly on the level of housing in a way. So to answer that, that was the prompt for the research, and I was just addressing one of the needs of the community. So it was a project given to me that I started the research. And I think your second question was if this is going to be shared. If
You would be able to share your study with other groups in the community, such as the East Harlem Community Health Committee, for example.
Yes, I will be able to, if I could schedule, if you can give me a schedule, I'll see if I could present it. Sure, I'll definitely don't mind presenting it. And for the research, there's like a lot of things missing. I kind of did it like surface level. In that there's number of units missing. It's just general locations and distances these areas are, because I was trying to show concentration, but also I'm aware that these images is not really speaking to the main problem, and those it has to be like more in-depth research. So I would propose that hopefully it can be continued with future fellows, because there's also like other fellows coming in working with the community board, and hopefully someone else could pick up this project and do in-depth research. I would say this is kind of like out of my comfort, because I'm an architecture student, so I mostly do drawings, and this was a great opportunity to learn. But if I could understand how to get data, analyze it, I think that would be best if maybe like a city planner or person who knows how to do it. But I am open to learning and learning some more. So I wouldn't be I will be hopeful I could continue with this research, but I would like to better understand it. Did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you very much. And congratulations.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions in the Zoom space? No? Okay, Shadeen, thank you again for the presentation. I'm definitely gonna stay in touch with you. Yeah, thank you again very much. This was, this gets us started in the right direction for a number of reasons. And just being able to gather data and see it, visualize the information that's being said. So thank you very much. I'm going to take a few seconds to make an announcement and go off on a 5-minute tangent, if you will allow me. So, I wanted to make this announcement at this time because it falls right in line with this presentation. The Human Services Committee, we will be hosting in the fall. We don't have a date yet. I believe we're setting on like the end of October, but we will be hosting a 1-day forum aimed at addressing the issues surrounding substance abuse and addiction within our community. The event will bring together addiction treatment specialists, neighborhood organizations, individuals with lived experiences, city officials, and law enforcement, all to foster understanding, collaboration, and some actionable solutions. So this will be a space for us to go a lot deeper into the issues of substance abuse and addiction in East Harlem. This is a very, very important topic. And as I have stressed and probably stressed to the extent that, you know, people don't want to be on this committee no more, regardless on, we will balance the issue of redlining with humanizing people. You know, there is a need, people these services are needed within our community. And the people who need the services are not less than anyone else, and they are not to be devalued or dehumanized. So we will not take that process in narratives and folks who sort of promote that energy. I completely stand against it, and I don't give space to it in this space. So our goal as a Human Services Committee is to humanize people, get a better understanding of the issues, and work towards some collaborative, actionable solutions. So that is what I wanted to let folks know. We're still in conception phase. We did have one meeting about it, and we do have a set of goals, principles, and an idea of what we want to do for the day. So it's not that much in conception. Right now, we're at a place where we want to be starting to reach out to people and form and shape the event. So this is the time now. If this is an event that you would like to present at or learn more about, please reach out to me. Again, my email is humanservices@cb11m.org. But, yes, we will be posting a forum in the fall on substance abuse and addiction. And, what that looks like in East Harlem, and how do we better understand the issue that we see today? And how do we work towards a humanized, solution, or some solutions, or steps, actionable steps, whatever that looks like. Just to cut my tangent a little shorter, I did give a presentation in March of 2023. Please, that is still on the calendar, I believe the slides are there, the presentation is there if you watch the YouTube video. At that time, I really gave a full presentation on how I believe some of the narratives that were coming out of the community board were actually more dehumanizing and counterproductive to what we actually wanted to accomplish as a community. So I'll spare folks a lot of that right now. But please do go back, watch the presentation. It was in September, 2023, March. And yes, I shared some personal experiences, but just some also research and just like information that I think folks are not paying attention to when we're really discussing these issues. A lot of times we're discussing it from a place of what I see, what I experience. When I go to the store, this is what I see. I hate this. I don't like this. And this is the issue. And we live in a community. It's a whole ecosystem of people. And it's important to understand not only how this impacts one person, but how it impacts an ecosystem of people, the community. Also, you know, children are impacted very differently. I see a lot of times when folks want to make the argument against treatment centers, they use children and say, oh, this is too close to a school. But at the same time, we also have children living with parents who are not getting addiction treatment services because of the stigma associated with it. So with that, we need to balance that. We can do better as a community and love on people, stop judging people, and figure out how to go harder for people who need more help. So I did my tangent in 5 minutes. Here we go. Any questions, reflections on any of that before I transition into our last presentation? Oh, yes, go. Yes, I was about to do what you just said.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Any questions on anything I just said? No? Mark, Jen, sorry, we have, this is a good time. So we have, our $500, from our human services budget, which we did not use. We would have to take a vote today, but we can take a position to use that $500 towards this event. So that is something we would need to vote on today because it is in June. This is the last, once, if we don't vote on it this month, we lose that money. So with that, is there a position by the committee to use our $500 budget on this event?
I'm happy to make that motion. We voted Paige Shadeen, but.
Right. Yes, please.
I'm happy to make the motion to spend the $500 on the event that you talked about happening in October.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Sharon. So,
I'm trying to word this motion language, so
Okay.
when I put it in a template, it's making sense, but
Yes.
right now it's more what you said. and-
yeah, that's fine. He said that we're using $500. Okay, so.
Motion
you said
to-
Yes.
What did you call
It
it?
doesn't happen
What
in
did
any
you
of
have a name?
You
It's
just
a-
say human services.
The Human Services event in October 2024.
Yes,
The forum. The
Yes.
October Human Services Committee Forum in October 2024.
yes. And I vote yes to that as well.
2024. You made it, you seconded? No, he made it.
She said, yeah,
Progresses.
they were all yes.
There's only so many permutations of this. There's the video here.
All right. Cool. Was that Grandma?
Yeah.
Cool, perfect. Thank you. And thank you for that reminder. Okay, one last call for any questions and comments on that before we transition into our last, presentation? No, seeing no hands? All right. Thank you again, Shadeen, for prefacing my announcement. I appreciate you. We will transition to our last presentation, which is by, Robin Holland, from the Rehabilitation Medicine at NYC Health and Hospitals. Mr. Holland, are you on?
Hi, good evening, everybody. Thank you for the opportunity to present to the board this evening. I'm Dr. Holland. I'm the Chair of Rehabilitation Medicine at New York Health and Hospitals Metropolitan. And I'm excited to tell you about some of the good work we're doing over here this evening. Let me see if I can share my screen with you. Oops, someone else's, oh, there we go. Let me try again. Very good. Can everybody see my screen?
Not yet, it may be loading, but, oh, yes, we do now.
All right, very good. All right, very good. So, like I said, I'm Dr. Holland. Here we go. All right, so Metropolitan Hospital is one of the New York Health and Hospitals acute care facilities. New York Health and Hospitals is the largest municipal public health care system in the country, of which Metropolitan is one of the nation's oldest public hospitals. And we were founded in 1875. So we are a full service community hospital providing state-of-the-art care and leading technology to patients from all 5 boroughs and the surrounding areas. And what's key about this is regardless of their ability to pay for the services. Metropolitan has also been affiliated with New York Medical College, where I hold an academic chair as the professor of rehab up there since its founding. And that's the oldest partnership in the country between a hospital and a private medical school. We're a really busy place. So we have 338 beds, of which 122 are for psychiatry and 19 are for substance recoveries, basically. We have over 1,000 deliveries last year, and we had over 480,000 outpatient visits, 7,500 discharges, 57,000 emergency room visits, and 1,627.5 FTEs. So a lot of people working here. I don't have all of those folks in my rehab department, unfortunately, but we're a piece of it. So who do we serve? Metropolitan is definitely serving our local community. So more than half of our patient population are Hispanic or Latinx, followed very closely by Black or African American. So we definitely serve the community in which we are residing. And the majority of our patients are on the younger end of the spectrum, either, with most of them being from 18 to 44 years of age, and the second highest percentage being from 45 to 64. All right. Metropolitan itself is a recognized leader in a number of ways. We're accredited by the Joint Commission. We're ranked as a leader in LGBT healthcare equality. We're a baby-friendly hospital. We've received that designation. We have a NICU, that's the Neonatal Intensive Care Unit Gold Beacon Award. And I won't go through all of these here because there's quite a few of them, but Metropolitan itself has received numerous accolades during its tenure. Of those, my department, the Physical Medicine Rehabilitation Department, is a center for excellence within New York Health and Hospitals system, which is great. And the mission and vision of my department are, parallel that of health and hospitals in general, which is to extend to all New Yorkers, regardless of their ability to pay, comprehensive physical medicine rehabilitation services with care, dignity, and respect. And just in case anybody needs a little bit of an understanding of what PM&R is, right? So just like physical therapy in the outpatient setting, right? If you twist your ankle or hurt your knee, you might go to the physical therapist and get some exercises. Within a hospital-based setting, this is a more aggressive version of that. So it is a rehab program consisting of physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech therapy, which is overseen by a medical doctor and nurses and psychiatrists and things like that, so that the comprehensive needs of somebody can be addressed in their recovery process. And as you might expect, these are people who are coming in for more than just an ankle sprain, but for some really traumatic things that may have happened to them. So like I said, we are designated as a center of excellence at Metropolitan Hospital, and some of our quality measures and outcomes actually are better than the national averages for things like length of stay and recovery of function. Each of our patients gets a comprehensive individualized plan of care. So part of what my team does when somebody comes in is really assess their individual needs and what we can do for them and how we can help them to get back home and to recover as much function as we can that they have lost. I alluded earlier to the fact that we have board certified doctors, we have nurses who have their RN, who have their rehab certification, actually. We have all the different therapists, PT, OT, and speech. We have social workers and psychologists, and we all work together as a big interdisciplinary team to take care of each patient and get them home. There is a whole continuity of care. So somebody may come through for acute rehab and they may go home and then come back to the hospital for that outpatient therapy like we talked about, so that they can continue their therapy even after they go home. And these are some of the various conditions that we see here, right? People who have had strokes or traumatic brain injuries, people who have had their hips and knees replaced, some of the really aggressive neurological conditions like Parkinson's disease and multiple sclerosis, people that might have suffered spinal cord injuries or had heart attacks, people who have amputations, or just people who have been in the hospital so long that they've gotten so weak that they, can't get out of bed and go home anymore. That's just kind of a subset of the patients that we serve here. So like we talked about, patients get all the different therapies, PT, OT, speech, and in fact, they have to receive 3 hours of therapy a day from some combination of those things to qualify to come to this level of rehab. And then, within that, we have all kinds of technology to help support the recovery of function that we're doing. Like I said earlier, we're part of the continuity of care. So somebody might get admitted to Metropolitan Hospital after being in a car accident or having a stroke. And once their medical condition has been stabilized, right? But if they're unable to return home because they can't walk anymore, or they can't get dressed anymore, they live alone, that's a good candidate for them to come to my rehab unit within Metropolitan, where we can continue to work with them and set them up with home care and the social supports that they may need to get back home after me. When they go home from rehab, we make sure that, a visiting nurse comes in. Therapy can either come into the house, or if they're in good enough condition at that point, or they have enough support to get them back to Metropolitan, they can come back to continue their therapy as outpatients. So they can walk in and do their therapy and then go home. What's really exciting is when I joined here in November of 2023, I had 20 rehab beds. And within 2 weeks of joining, I was told that we were going to be expanding to 52 beds, so that we can really serve the entire system and New York City as a center of excellence for rehab. And what goes along with that, I have a residency training program. And so, student doctors basically from New York Medical College come here to learn this profession and learn how to, be physical medicine rehab doctors after graduation. So I'm really excited to be here. We're doing great work. I think the program is due to expand. And, there's a number here should you have a patient or somebody that you think needs to get into rehab. Thank you very much for the time. And I'll entertain any questions.
Thank you very much, Dr. Holland, for that presentation. I don't have any immediate questions. Are there any questions from anybody in the room? Mark.
Sure.
Do you find that there's a lot of resistance to the concept of rehab? I mean, it almost feels like you're obviously educating us about the program, but I'm getting the sort of hint that somehow you feel like there needs to be an advocacy effort to get people to recognize the need, not just the quality of the rehab.
No, I think quite the opposite. I don't think there's a lot of resistance to people actually coming. I think what we really wanted to share with you tonight is that, unlike a lot of hospitals and healthcare systems where you have to have, good insurance sometimes to get what you need, we're really here to serve our population. And so, you don't have to have insurance to get this kind of high quality rehab that you might need insurance to go elsewhere for. And I guess that's the message I wanted to get across, is we are here to serve the community, and these resources are out there.
My follow-up question, you're saying that you want to be this, or you are going to be the center for all of the New York City hospitals? So does that mean basically serving everybody who lives in New York City, or did I misunderstand?
No, absolutely. So, I mean, certainly we want to serve anybody that lives within New York City or even outside of the 5 boroughs. Within the health and hospital system, right? We have 21 different facilities that are health and hospitals and post-acute centers and community, like ambulatory care centers. But Metropolitan is going to be the center for health and hospitals. So 90% of the rehab that goes on in the system is going to come to Metropolitan, and that's what one of the things Metropolitan will be known for. We do work very closely though with other healthcare systems in New York, with Mount Sinai and our partners like that. And I mean, they're in some ways they are competitors, but also, we partner with them. I in fact took a patient from Mount Sinai who didn't have insurance just so they could come to our rehab, and they really appreciate it. So it's that kind of collaboration with the other healthcare systems that I'm looking to achieve.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Holland. Are there any other questions in the room? Anyone? Yes. please.
So in terms of the services that you offer, what does rehabilitation include? Is it only for those with substance abuse issues, or does that include physical therapy or anything else of that nature?
Yeah, so there's two different rehabs out there, right? We're not drug rehab or substance abuse rehab as much as physical medicine and rehabilitation. So yes, to that point, the physical therapy, the occupational therapy. So if someone's been in a really bad car accident, for instance, and they've broken a bunch of bones and are unable to walk and unable to get dressed or feed themselves, that's the kind of rehabilitation I'm talking about. And so, as the physicians oversee the medical management of the patients and also help guide the therapist, because we're all trained in the same stuff that they do. So we can help design the exercise programs and the exercises that get them moving again. So it's not necessarily, although we have had patients on the unit who have substance abuse problems and we can deal with that, this is not like a substance abuse rehab so much as a comprehensive exercise program rehab, if that makes sense.
Clarifying that. I have another question.
Sure.
You mentioned that you work with other hospitals, or you co-work with other hospitals. Do you provide transportation, let's say for someone who resides at a nursing home or something like that, to get to and from?
It is, yes. I mean, the broad strokes answer is yes. And that's part of the social work function here, is to help work with the patients and set up transportation and things like that. For somebody that's like specifically lives at a nursing home, it might be a little different, but that's just because of the technicalities of the nursing home piece. But overall, yes, we work to like get the people where they need to go.
Thank you.
Thank you, man.
Are there any other questions in the room?
Yeah, I had a question as well. What exactly is the referral process for being able to make referrals if we know of folks who have these burdens that you mentioned with, not being able to afford physical therapy or something like that, and they now realize that this is something that they need?
Sure. So I can share these slides, which does have that contact number down there that someone could call to start that referral process. There's typically two ways people could get in. I mean, if you have been admitted to a hospital, right, with a traumatic injury or something, typically the case manager or the social worker will utilize, one of the different platforms. One of them is called Allscripts, right? And they put the patient's data into the system, and that is transmitted to our admissions specialists, who then get that referral and look through it and then can try to start the process for admitting somebody. On the outside, if someone is like at home and they're looking to do, and they're looking for physical therapy, that's probably going to happen more on an outpatient basis, since they are not hospitalized. And they could call, they or their representative could call that number and just say, hey, we're looking to get in. You may need depending on what's going on, we might need like a referral from the primary doctor, but I mean, we can work with everybody to try to get it done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all, everybody, for your questions. Are there any questions in the virtual space for Dr. Holland? Or you have one?
There is one, but, Dr. Holland, are you sharing those slides right now, or?
Why don't I send them to you guys first thing in the morning, if that's okay?
Yeah,
Very good.
you have a hand from Sandra to
Okay.
Oliver.
Hey, Sandra, please.
Hi, Isaac. I'm sorry I'm being a pest this evening, but your presenters are so interesting and important that I can't resist. Dr. Hallam, thank you for your presentation. I have two quick questions. One, to follow up on your previous question, in terms of outpatient referrals, is there a long waiting list, number one? And number two, again, wearing my hat of the East Harlem Community Health Committee, we do have a subcommittee that deals with referrals within the community from multiple medical and health institutions. Do you know if your department participates in that process to have the exchange and the dialogue about efficient referral mechanisms or challenges for our community?
So as far as your first question, we do actually have a little bit of a wait right now for therapy because, as you might expect, since we're really encouraging everyone to utilize the services they are being utilized, I'm actually working with the leadership here, and we've opened up some new lines and are going to hire some new therapists to reduce those outpatient wait times. So I'm very excited about that. As far as your second question of streamlining the referrals, I don't have the answer for you. I'm sure we can work together and figure it out, and I'm sure we'd be interested in streamlining the process.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Dr. Holland, if you could, you left the phone number, there's a phone number in the slides, but if you want to just state your email on the record for people who may want to reach out to you directly after this presentation, that would be great.
Oh, absolutely. So everybody got a pen? So it's all lowercase letters, HOLLAND, Holland, a lowercase r and the number 2. So Holland R2 at nychhc.org, New York Health and Hospitals.org.
Thank you very, very much, Dr. Holland, for your presentation. And yes, I was also going to ask if you could send the slides. So thank you. We'll look out for those.
Will do.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.
Have a great night. Okay, so with that, we'll transition into our final presentation, or rather, not a presentation, it's old business, a discussion regarding our committee review of agenda topics and prospective budget requests. I'll just say one thing real quick, and then I'll turn it over to our vice chair, Jen Meyer. So going into October, we have to submit our budget request as the Human Services Committee. So over the summer, what is going to happen is a survey is going to be given to the community, and it's going to cover areas from human services to transportation and all of the different committees' purview. This information will then go to inform our statement of district needs and subsequent. Our budget request and our statement of district needs, I want to say simultaneously. What I'm saying is that October is a very heavy month and that we need to articulate clear budget requests in this weird city-based language. I want to say, like, there's a model for how you have to articulate it to them. We'll actually in September walk through the spreadsheet. I'm going to spend a large part of September's meeting and every day of September just working with committee members, all of us, on making sure everyone's comfortable coming into October's meeting to be able to finalize whatever new and existing budget items we will be creating. So what we've been doing is we've been keeping it on the agenda so that we're not just waiting until the last minute to be talking about the issues that we want to be writing our budget request in. Also, when we take a position as a committee and we say, hey, our community needs this, or we are opposed to this, our request for money and budgetary items should be right in line with that advocacy. So if we're saying that we don't approve of something in our community, then there should be a budget request or something in line with that is advocating from the city that a change be made within the budgetary purview. So with that, I'll be quiet and I'll pass it over to Jen to facilitate this part of this discussion.
Marlene, are you able to share the document? I have to stop sharing. I would queued it up. I didn't know you wanted me to share it. So give me a second. It's fine.
So I can start talking about it anyway. So I created a document that has some of the budget requests that Isaac had written up, some that I had written up that were not included in the past just because of our time constraints as well. And I also went through the past 2 years of our meeting minutes to see who has presented, what topics everybody is interested in. And I created this document that has a list of all the things Isaac had come up with, and then everything that the community has presented on and that we talked about, so that we can turn them either into budget items or if we need to follow up with agenda items. So once we get that up, so here's the document. It has The first column there is the budget or item topic. We'll go into like assigning them later. The budget source would be if we're writing a budget item for it, if we're asking for it, was needed when we got to the main ask in October. Possible budget language. Is there, research, so we try to back up if we can, any of our asks and research. And then if you go over it a bit more, I think there's one more column that has, there's, in addition to the budget items, if we're asking for looking instead for agenda items or collaborations, can add that there, and then an area for notes that like just hold throughout our conversations that we've had. So if you like scroll down, you can see some of these are more filled out than others. All the ones that Isaac and I have been working on have the possible budget language there. And if you go further down, there are some that are just, they just have kind of the topic right now. And don't have anything with it. So I was thinking we have kind of 2 months to work on this. I think we'll get us in a good place for when Isaac is leading us to actually coming up with what we're going to submit for our budget items. If we could, we're a small committee now, but we have a lot of asks, so the idea was, and I started to sign myself up just based off what I already have done some research on, but you can feel free if you wanna do it, co-sign up with me. But it comes out to about 13 of the budget / item topics per person to go through and fill out this spreadsheet for. With the understanding that not every single item might not be a budget request, it might be that we wanna have a speaker come, it might be that we wanna collaborate with. Public safety or with housing on something. But just kind of, these are all of the topics that over the past year to 2 years have come before the board, and that we think we need to, or I think we need to, and I imagine others would think that we need to address in some way, whether that is a budget language item for it, whether that's, again, collaboration, or it's inviting folks to speak. So my idea was for each of us to sign up for about 13, which again is just the first small committee right now.
So is that, I think, is there 39 topics right now, or is that where the 13 is coming from?
There's 52, so we'll
52.
have to get Robin in here as well. I can take on more as well, but also I think, you know, if you've been paying attention in the past year, like you kind of, and there's a lot of them do have stuff already written, and it's just reading through and making edits. And there are a few that I had questions about with that in a minute, but the idea was for us to sign up for 13 each, kind of fill it in, whether you think this needs to be a budget item, an agenda item, collaboration item, or any combination of the 3 of those. And then we can kind of use this going into the actual budget season. Of course, I mean, there's 52 of them, so not all of them will be selected. Unless you know, Marlene and Angel decided to just split all the human services items, which would be great, but probably.
It's never gonna happen. You have 25 expense for the board and 40 for the board. So
it's for the whole board, but I
Yeah.
think this will at least, like I said, not all of them will be budget items to start with. Some of them will just be ideas, again, for collaboration, programming, whatever. But also I think it doesn't hurt to have like our dream list of what we would want funded, and hopefully as the years go on, some of these will actually be funded and we can move to others on the list. But yeah, so we'll be prioritizing come September and October. But that was the idea for now. I have a question.
when you were creating the budget / item topic, did you look at the, I'm just curious, at the budget guide? Like to get the language of how the budget should be worded?
So for some of them, they should be worded correctly, for others, because we didn't go into
detail into that, it's just kind of the topic, and they'll,
It's a brainstorm.
yeah, and they'll
Okay.
need to be like. Yeah, like non-communicable diseases, obviously, like, you can say.
No, I understand. I was just wondering, if you got a chance to do that. So just, remember for the assignment that it has to be worded as funding. Like you're looking for funding. Or they'll send it back and say this is not a budget request. So you wanna avoid that, right? Yeah.
I really like, what you said about, us going through this and seeing what is actually a budget request versus what, we can then speak it into or support in collaboration or some sort of, public program, because I think, that does also help us all to think outside of the box and just that, we're not just stuck in this place of trying to get all of these things taken care of through the budget, the city budget, but that we are thinking strategically about what's the best way to address some of these issues. So I love that idea there. Do you want to go through some of the unassigned ones and I can see which ones I could do?
Yeah, feel free to sign yourself up, I mean, there's a lot there, so I don't think you have time to read through all of them. But sign yourself up for any that you're interested in,
I do want to understand what it is being asked us. I'm now in the spreadsheet, I'm looking at it. And I can see the two. So are you asking us to put our initials in the committee member column? The ones that you're interested in, it sounds to me like some pre-thinking about it before September.
right, so filling out this spreadsheet,
But filling out with possible budget language.
right, so you'll have.
Research articles or things about each of these topics, about who might collaborate with on these topics, and any other notes that would be appropriate.
Right, so it doesn't have to be all of them for each one, so say. I know there's one that there's one about knowing your rights. There's already funding for that, there's already organizations that do it, so for that one, it might just. Be under agenda items, we have someone come in and talk about. Knowing your rights, and we ask that to facilitate one. Board meeting or. In the community, that probably won't be budget related, that would be since. There are organizations that are funded to do that, where. There might be other ones. A lot of other ones where we would need an actual budget item for that, so we'd be asked to update. The budget item topic to make it. Farley said into a funding request, adding a possible budget language. And if you happen to find any research, as you're doing that.
Don't necessarily mind the idea or the exercise, without even looking at, I'm trying to look at them now, I'm doing a little bit overall, because I mean, some of them are like. Dog feces, okay, I can, come up with something like that, but then some of them are like, support for parenting. That's, I don't even know how to begin.
I think,
would say
may I
so.
interject? So
Yes.
I think what Jen did was really good.
No, I agree.
She started a brainstorm, which never happens.
Right.
So thanks for doing that instead of scrambling in October. But what would help you, Mark, is I could resend it, since you guys are gonna work on this over the summer. She created a brainstorm, you look on the guide where that would fit in, so it would probably fit in under DOH&H, that's the city agency that will fund cleaning up the streets in some way. I don't have the guide figured into memory, but that's what you would do, you look at the guide, look at Jen's brainstorm, and this is where it goes, under DOH&H, asking for funding for them specifically. Or it might fit under sanitation, you don't know, you'd have to look at the guide.
This is the guide.
The budget reference guide.
Yeah, I'm gonna send all of that. I'll send that to you
Yeah.
prior to September so that you have it. I think another thing I wanted to mention in that, because okay, let me just say this. So when we make our budget request, we make at this committee specifically, we make our budget request to about 5 different, it can be up to 5 different city agencies. That includes the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene, Health and Hospitals Corporation, the Department of Aging, which is different, the Department of Homeless Services, DHS, and the Human Resources Administration, HRA. So our request, if we're asking for money at this time, it would be to one of these agencies, right? So that's just one thing to mention. But to the point Marlene was making, there is specific language that is in, I think another thing that would be helpful is if you just, I sent you over like what last year's budget request looked like the range, and so you can see the consistency and how you have to articulate. So and the same here for some of them as well. It's like how you have to articulate it with a certain way.
I get that, but
Yeah.
if I'm looking at disabilities. I mean, forget about whether I have to articulate what the budget request is. I mean, what is it that we're actually looking? There's only a word.
Yeah.
There's no other clarity about what it is, and that's, I think picking up dog feces is very, very specific, it's very broad.
I think what would be best, specifically, especially for you, Mark, so that you can take baby steps into this. I think start with some of those topics you feel comfortable with. Some of the other ones are very broad and need to be fleshed out. And I think that's what Jim was saying that earlier. We have to flesh out.
It's not even like, I don't know, I don't think, I think we have to look in,
We have to look into a lot of
like,
this.
for emergency response, like, I've talked to Sarah,
Yeah.
go out and see like what their needs are. What they would identify as budget requests or budget.
And as a committee, sorry to interrupt you, John, but as a committee, if Mark is, I'm pretty sure there's more of the committee review and say, well, I'm not sure, right? What she meant by that, but it's a collaborative effort, so you can write in the sheet and say, did you mean this, or did you mean that? And Jen could see it and say, well, I meant that, and then, well, okay, that's my brain was going to the OHMH when she really meant to go to different. Right? So you're speaking to each other. That's the collaboration that needs to happen. So you guys are super prepared to submit your requests by October 31st.
I think some of them just require, like I said, like more like disabilities. I'm like, I can imagine what some of the disability concerns, I feel like these Ryan's probably not even that big, who have a mobility issue. But I like personally, if I sign up for that one, we'll have to do more research into, but I know it's not great, like with the disability here, but I don't know all the details, so I would be worried about it.
No, I understand the research, and I certainly, I guess it's an opportunity to get to know organizations in the district that might actually, provide something like that. It's just. Well, I'm part of the committee, I'm gonna play along, I'm just letting you know that this seems like I'm not sure how it's all gonna feel when I'm actually trying to pull it together to make sense.
And in the notes, there are some. So disabilities need to look specific to subject, and I would have to, they're so sweet, maybe go back and ever get percent on that, exactly, maybe go to that.
Okay, yeah.
So in the notes, there are some thoughts about,
Beginning,
some of them have some thoughts about where I had.
beginning breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, so to that point, Mark, it may be good to go, but how far did you go back, looking at agenda items?
I went back to the beginning of.
So that's it, so that there you can see like that where a lot of these topics came from, and maybe seeing some of the presentations. I know that's a lot, but you can have the summer, so throughout the summer, you can, but it would be good. Honestly though, anyone who is going to, this is real talk. Anyone who comes on this committee or is a part of this committee, it is imperative that you get that understanding, do the background knowledge, because this committee holds a huge responsibility, having to deal with addiction services, mental health, immigration, partly housing at times. So we, disabilities, we get all of the human services. So it would be helpful to go back and hear, some of the meetings where folks are screaming and yelling at us, and some of them where there are presentations that are very informative, like the ones that I spoke about, where every presentation is informative, but some discussions really go deeper than others. And, I don't want you or anyone to have to go through every meeting, but to the extent that you are willing to go back through these meetings and look at the present, even if you don't go through the whole meeting, scan the slides in each month that the Human Services Committee met, the presentations from each person is there. So at least you can see the slides of the different organizations that came. That could also prompt me to say, hey, I wonder what this discussion was like, go a bit deeper into that meeting, because the recording is there. That could also help with reflecting on what was actually spoken about with respects to disability or some of these other topics, because I know I don't remember stuff that was happening in the beginning of 2022.
But it matter, I mean,
Mhm.
13 is a very daunting number. I mean, we're not talking about 3, we're talking about 13. So basically, you are going to have to go back to every meeting that's taken place over years.
Yeah.
If you have that scope.
It depends on what 13 you pick.
Well,
Mom, you're not getting 13, man.
Okay.
Yeah,
You're not getting them.
Five,
You're not
like-
gonna get that. You're definitely not gonna get
I don't know.
that. But we know.
I'm trying to follow.
No, but really though, I really, and I'm gonna personally work with you as well, because I want some of them, because it's important that, we all are comfortable, and this is not a comfortable process, you know, it's not, it's never been.
My first thought was, I have to set up a coffee with you or both. Well, it's like, we can have a conversation about this, and I can pick your brain, so yeah.
It's a process, and it's gonna be a process for new committee members, so I don't want anyone to like, it will be overwhelming, and we will be looking at you for your opinion. But I think right now what we're doing and what Jim put together is a great starting tool for us
I think if you
to be
could
thinking
take
about.
like one a week,
Well, I think it is a great start, don't get me wrong, in all honesty, I think you could have made this the entire year of.
Let's
You
get
know, of the committee, of the committee.
also it doesn't need to be perfect,
Yeah.
so my goal was to have us within 2 months. Start to fill this out, then spend another month providing comments for each other and looking at the ones that you weren't assigned. And then again, that is only just leading to September where we'll start talking about these in person, so.
Can I ask you a question then about, column G, Marlene, I'm sorry, may you please scroll over to column G for me?
There's nothing in column G, so.
Not yet,
Okay.
I'm typing it.
Oh, you're typing.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, is it okay, Jen, if we put a drop down menu in that one that says either budget item, agenda presentation, or, collaboration? That way we know whether, that way we can separate whether we're thinking about each one as a budget request versus something different, or we.
I think some of that might be more than one,
Okay, so they might be both, or we can do two.
maybe it's like, I can make it add a direction to like specify and then,
Okay, let's,
and then also say like there's a collaboration.
yes, gotcha. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so this is definitely, I'm definitely going to, we'll keep this conversation going around the budget items, especially when I know who our new committee members are. I'll reach out to them and try to find some time, but I definitely want to, keep this conversation going over the summer so we can work these out. Again, like Marlene said, we're only gonna be able to put so many in anyway. So we'll have more requests than we can even submit anyway, but the goal is to know that we are working towards them, and if we can't get them into the budget, then perhaps we're strategizing a different way to advocate for this particular need. And also, I think it goes a long way for the community to understand what this committee is working on. Because I hear a lot, folks who don't come to these meetings think that we're not doing anything. They think that we're just letting anything happen, and they don't understand the work that is going into advocating for the district needs at the budget level, but even at the community organizing level. So.
And I think some of the requests could be like, let's not focus on this right now. Or like, I'm looking at like school absenteeism, like that, you could just be like, talk to youth and education, like that,
Yeah.
their thing, and ask them how we can support their initiatives, and that could be
Right.
the end of that.
Well, I think that, yeah, to me, that's where this is gonna start. It's gonna start with collaboration with people who have been focused on these things for a while. I don't know, let's say,
Because I-
those organizations are all the time.
And some of them,
But one of you will, so I'm gonna, that coffee's gonna be essential.
some of the other committees will have like the budget items to be like, it literally might just be like, ask them how we can collaborate, ask them how we can support any initiatives they have, but I feel like human services is hard because like, what isn't human services?
No, it's a pretty broad term.
Right. I appreciate, how thorough this committee is, and it's important, it's really important, especially given the multifaceted issues in East Harlem. And this committee has a huge weight, so we do have to, tackle as much as possible without being, sucked into one issue so much that we're not focusing on other things. So that was another reason for, this. So thank you again, Jen, for putting this together. This is great. I love spreadsheets personally. So This is helpful for tracking, I think, but a lot of September's meeting on the record will be workshopping this. We're going to, I will say another thing is we've been doing fantastic at getting through meetings, but, you know, we had 3 presentations today. And we're having this discussion, we had a few updates and it's only 7:30, so that's good. I'm hoping to spend a good amount of time in September workshopping, what we have, on the record, but by then we're gonna flush this out a lot more, so we'll know what we're bringing to the September meeting. But yes, we definitely want to, I'm gonna work over some, again, with committee members to ensure that they are comfortable to the extent that you'll be comfortable with that process. And coming in September, I think we'll be a lot more locked in on getting prepared for October's meeting. So. A little bit about this. Any questions from, could I ask a question? Are you guys, new to the board?
Yeah.
Or, you're not?
No.
Oh, are you are?
Yes,
Okay. Okay, so just.
Just have to make the change.
I know, but I'm just wondering if you would join the board.
No,
Because I know you're not presenting today, but I'm.
No,
wondering, like,
no,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, well, thank you for showing up and being here.
absolutely.
And welcome to the board.
Yeah.
I definitely, you should join the board.
What is your name?
Marcel.
Marcel. I'm Mark, so we have similar letters.
And they are.
Yeah, so, yeah, Marcel, whatever committee you do decide, you'll have to go through this process with them as well. So you're in it twice, so you're 2 committees and you'll have to go through this, so.
I'm still trying to figure it out. I've been attending all the meetings so far.
Okay, so if you join, we'll be done at 10.
See, don't let the work scare you. You won't give me this work today, only tomorrow. No, I'm just playing. You know, right. You know, but the goal here is to build up leadership, so we're not going to overwhelm people and scare people out of the work, so. You know what I mean? So whether you join this committee or not, any new members we have, we will be making sure that they are prepared for budget season. Just because I know I wasn't, and I hated like the first few years of it. Yeah. Yeah. All right, Jen, anything else? Well, thank you very much again for this. If there are no any other pressing issues, we can, there's no new business. So I would ask the question to any community members there, just as a closing question, are there any particular issues, human services issues that you believe our committee should be focusing on in the next fiscal year as we come back in September to 2025 June? You can answer that question, raise your hand now, answer that question if you're on and you have something pressing, or you can email me at the email that I provided, and you know, we can discuss that and see how we can included into the scope of what this committee will be looking at in our next fiscal year. I don't see any hands, right? Oh, yes.
I was just gonna say, I guess with, more collaborations, I think it's just really important. I had meant to announce earlier, I'm Antonika, James, I'm with Housing Works and I'm with the Connect program. And I just had meant to also, remind everyone that we are physically moving. And so we'll be at 145 East 125th Street starting July 1st. And so that is where Bailey Housing Works will be residing. And, you know, we do have a lot of programs that fall under that umbrella, from primary health care, harm reduction, mental health services, but we'll also be bringing a new food distribution program to the community that's gonna be run through Anthem Blue Cross. And so it's gonna, you know, be something that's gonna be great. It's gonna require an app for people to receive a meal, but it's a meal service, delivery service that will be offered to the community. So it's just, I think it's gonna be critical, right, that as a community that we're all really fostering those efforts of collaboration and all of the work that we're doing for community members, and just making sure that
you know, we're keeping those lines of communication open and very transparent in regards to, you know, the services, the service needs, and what it is that the community members themselves are telling us that they would like for us to bring to the community with them.
Thank you. Would you guys have capacity to be a part of our update section monthly?
I can talk to folks about that. It seems like that might be something that, yeah.
Yeah, because it's just that, I mean, the updates would be just 3 to 5 minutes, but it would keep us abreast of what you guys are doing and keep the community on point of how they can access those resources. That's one of the things I really wanted to do when I started as chair, is provide as much information to the community as possible. So we try to pack that information update section, so if you can. If you guys have the capacity, it would be great if someone could. It doesn't have to be in person. I'll be
Right.
here.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
but right now, we were still right down the street.
Yeah.
So, not that bad. I don't think 125th Street in Lexington is that far from here either, so, it's fine for that.
But I know those winter months. people-
Oh, yeah, no.
The wag will be here with us. But, thank you. I will definitely follow up with you on that too,
Yeah.
with a formal invitation.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other, thoughts, on how this committee can, you know, take a look at, some issues? I guess I'll leave that open. I'll find a way also to just email community members at large about that and different, the different circles that I'm in. And I ask you guys to forward them to you, your connects, and we'll just maybe just do like an internal survey within our committee where we polled people and we know, okay, these are pressing issues for folks right now. All right, so I won't keep us any longer. That's, I think, Marlene, we don't have any business, so I think at this point we can roll and then adjourn.
Mark Rubinsky,
Present.
Brandon Westby. Jennifer Meyer,
Present.
Isaac Scott,
Present.
and Robert Tracy is excused for this meeting.
Okay, thank you, everyone. This meeting is adjourned at 7:45 p.m. And we will be meeting again in September of 2024. There will be no services meeting during the months of July and August. Enjoy your summer, everyone, and email me if you need to.